one mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Hey, it's Friday. Welcome into the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker.com. I'm also being heard on the Spreaker app. It's available on all your mobile devices, whether you got the Apple situation or Android or Windows or whatever you may have. I'm also live on TuneIn for everybody who's rocking the TuneIn app on your mobile device. And, of course, on the website, One Mic with BigMike.com. This show is also available on demand after the fact. You know, once I'm done doing the show at 9 o'clock, you can always get it on demand and share it with your friends in all those situations. At all four of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, let's give a round of applause. Yeah, round of applause. Wednesday we had some technical issues with the live video stream, and guess what? Today, the podcast gods have blessed us. Maybe not you, because you're the ones that gotta look at me, but you know the entire package is back together today. So I am streaming live video, which is available on demand following the show on YouTube, as well as the audio for the show. Make sure you subscribe. You guys can go to my Facebook page right now if you one of those people who like to watch. It's at the number one MIC, WITHBIGMIKE on Facebook. And make sure you like that joint as well as share it with all your friends and your people and all those kind of things. If you want to be a part of the show, get involved in the commentary, text me your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Or you can jump inside my live interactive chat room by clicking on the little thought bubble icon. It's only available on the Spreaker if you're listening via Spreaker, or if you're listening via my website. The thought bubble is not available on TuneIn, so you have to be listening via Spreaker or the website. Or if you want to just watch on Facebook, you can always leave your comments below the streaming video. Yeah, that's cool. Like now, as resistant as I was to the whole Facebook situation, the Facebook Live situation, it's become a part of what I do now. So when it's not there, like lightweight on Wednesday, I was pissed. Like you probably wouldn't be able to notice or be able to tell, because I'm that type of professional. I've been groomed in that way, and I'm not even just BSing about that. Like the people who mentored me in a way that stuff, you know, shouldn't outwardly affect me. But I was lightweight pissed about this whole, like the whole show, not the whole show, but like the whole like first 45 minutes of the show. I'm sitting up here while I'm talking and I'm clicking on the program, trying to open it and reopen it and close it. Yeah, I was lightweight pissed. So Renee will tell you guys that I told her, like, I'm gonna fight with this damn thing for the whole day on Thursday if I have to get it to work. And you know, luckily today, last night I got it to work. So you guys got a break from looking at my ugly mug on Wednesday, but here I am to invade the beginning of your weekend. It's a Halloween weekend, so to speak. I mean, everybody's going to be partying over the weekend for Halloween, but the actual day is Monday, right? I don't do the Halloween thing. I don't do holidays, you know, in essence anyway. But the one thing I will say is like the same type of stuff that I say like around like 4th of July and Labor Day, when like dangerous stuff could happen. Like if you taking your babies out trick-or-treating on Monday and all that stuff, like, please, I know this sounds like rudimentary, but please keep a close eye on them, man. Like right here in right near where I grew up at, it was a couple years ago, and I think it's happened a couple times. Like someone turned their back for like a second and wasn't paying attention to their baby, man, to their kid, and they were struck by a vehicle and killed, man. And that's one of those unfortunate things. You go out and you're trying to spend some time with your kid and trying to do something fun with the baby, and the next thing you know, something unfortunate like that happens just off of a split seconds. Like, it's no one's fault. No one was drinking and driving and none of that kind of stuff. It's just one of those freak things that happens with kids. You know what I mean? When you turn your head for a second, sometimes the wildest things can happen. In this case, something very, very unfortunate. So my little ghetto public service announcement to everybody is just like, if you're going out and you're going to do that on Monday with the babies, with the kids, just be a little extra aware of what's happening. You know what I mean? So that everybody gets their candy and they get to go home and be safe after the fact, and everybody can have their fun and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I'll make sure I got all that out the way. So now to the show. The show, in a real crazy way, this show just kind of came to me maybe about 20 minutes ago. Like, I've been reading all day, like here and there. I've been just reading like I do every day and trying to just absorb whatever I could. But the show just kind of came to me a few minutes ago, like 20, 30 minutes ago, because I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about. Of course, we got the NBA. Everyone has now participated in at least one competition. So whatever team you root for, whatever you was trying to see to start the season, you got to see it already. Which brings me to my question of the day. My question of the day is brought to me by sportsnewsandbrews.com. With that being the case, every team has experienced one game of NBA regular season basketball. And the question was, what have you gleaned from, I know it's early, because that's like a lot of the responses. Like, it's early. There's 81 more games to go. But, yeah, there are certain things that, me personally, I wanted to see. I wanted to see James Harden play point guard for Mike D'Antoni. He didn't do that last year. I wanted to see Blake Griffin coming back off the injury. He and Chris Paul coming back off the injuries that pretty much ended their season last year against the Trailblazers. I wanted to see right here in the city of Atlanta. I wanted to see Dwight Howard fit in with Coach Bud's offense, and I wanted to see him be healthy and see if he was going to be healthy. And Dwight looked good. Like, Dwight was light on his feet. I had a lot of spring to his step, and I know it's like everyone wanted to tell me it's early. But the other thing that I know, and the other thing I realized, that a lot of adrenaline could be involved in these type of things, no doubt. But there are still, my bigger point is, there are things that if you're a basketball fan, there are things to look for. And you know what, I even thought about after the fact, which should have been the question probably, if you even give a damn about basketball right now, because I know a lot of people don't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. They can't compartmentalize, okay, it's basketball season and football season, and I can pay attention to both, especially since last night, that garbage-ass game that was on. You should have been all about basketball. Well, no baseball on. World Series wasn't on. That's tonight. They traveled to Chicago, first game in Wrigley Field in like 70 years. So basketball was really all there was to rock with last night. So maybe that should have been the question. But I just wanted to see if anyone else, had the same thoughts that I had. The things that you wanted to look for out of the gate as it pertained to the NBA. What else do I have outside the question of the day? Also, you can answer the question of the day by texting your answers to 404-902-8104. You can do it in my live interactive chat room. You can't do it in there. You can answer the question in there, though. And you can also leave them as comments. Leave your answers as comments below the streaming video on the Facebook page, facebook.com/1 MICWITHBIGMIK. We got some Cavs and some Raptors going on. DeRozan and the boys, and Kyle Lowry. Yeah, I'm going to be checking that out while I'm talking to y'all. All right, let's go back to the notes and see what else I got here to talk to you guys about. Bottom of the hour, we got to do On This Day. After the first break, we got to do On This Day, which is my daily look back into the annals, into the history of sports. Got a couple good ones today, as a matter of fact. ATL, stand up. I got something for you today. And On This Day, the NCAA got the first, what I want to say? I want to say the first weekend of games before the actual real BCS rankings come out, where they determine the top four. Like, this is all that matters. All that AP crap and all that coaches poll crap, that's cool, and I talk about it every week, or I tell you guys what it is every week. But for the most part, none of that matters. The only ones that matter is the selection committee poll, which is the one after that's going to come out next Tuesday. So we got a couple of games I want you guys to pay attention to as we as we move closer and closer into the weekend. And also, I had a question. It pertained to Lane Kiffin, and I want to kind of like flesh it out during the show tonight if I can. And there's an update to the Baylor situation. If you don't remember, if you aren't aware of what the Baylor situation is, all the sexual assaults that were kind of swept under the rug that occurred within the Baylor football program that cost Art Browse his job, that cost the AD, I can't think of his name, Ken Starr, his job as well. And, of course, we got to talk about the NFL. Falcons taking on the Packers here in the city this weekend. A winnable game, very winnable game. But, I know there's a lot of Falcons fans. I don't care how much, Falcons pride you try to act like you got right now and how much hope you have. You, in the back of your mind, you thinking about that last year a little bit. And it's just human nature for you to be thinking about that because you've seen a couple of games come down to the wire and the Falcons not finishing. I got an article that I want to share with you guys that kind of explains or kind of describes what's going on with your Atlanta Falcons. You know what else I wanted to do today? Try out today. We used to do something on the old show, not the Sports Kings, but the show I used to produce on the radio here in Atlanta. And we called it Ask Away. And me and Renee had been talking about this for a while, doing this thing called Ask Big Mike, where you as the listener, if you're listening to the show, no matter how you're listening, even if you're not listening live, if you're listening to the show, to the podcast on demand, you can just, shoot me a question, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be about sports, whatever you want to know. If it's something about me. And I guess we will call it Ask Big Mike. Since it's Friday, whatever. We can try to roll it out today. I probably should have thought about this earlier so we could have done some like promo on it, but whatever. I mean, if you guys want to ask me questions, fire them away. You can leave them on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. I'm also streaming live video on Facebook at the same handle. That's my Facebook page. Is at the same handle, One Mike with Big Mike. Or you can text them at 404-902-8104. Let me grab this phone real quick. Oh, here it is. So I can see if anybody texts the show. I sometimes don't expect anyone to text. So, see, like here. Yep, someone from I don't know what this is, the 636. This was yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yo, Big Mike, it's your boy Zach here. How things been? Haven't been watching the show long, just a couple of days, but he keeps cursing. But have yourself a good day, homie. Well, appreciate it, Zach. Thank you, brother. From the 636. Somebody check out where that's at, the 636. So you can be like Zach and just text the show, 404-902-8104. Zach just wanted to holler at me and give me a little compliment and a little encouragement for my day. I can't be mad at that. I need all that I can get. Appreciate it, homie. So I mentioned earlier the conversation that came to me today or a few minutes ago, or the direction of the conversation, especially to start the show. It kind of was spawned by what happened in Philly on opening night. If you guys don't know, Sevyn Streeter, R&B singer Sevyn Streeter, was supposed to sing the national anthem. And she wasn't allowed to because she was wearing a jersey that said, "We Matter" on it. Now, I know it's one of those things that it's one of those like, oh, yeah, everybody's got to be mad about it. Oh, it's so wrong and wrong and wrong. Like, I'm past that point of being surprised at people's ignorance and stupidity and forcing myself to display some sort of outward emotion. So I was like, all right, man, I know I'm going to mention it because, I mean, it's a story and I know I'm going to mention it, but I don't really have strong feelings about it either way. You know what I mean? Like, any rational human being knows that it's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't have this one Colin Kaepernick that kind of just snuck up on you. You know what I mean? Like, Cat's been kneeling during the anthem, and Cat's been, like, there's a white boy in Milwaukee the other night, had Black Lives Matter on his guitar while he's playing. Like, this ain't stuff that sneak up on you. So when it happens, I'm like, all right, somebody's just trying to prove a damn point or something now. So I started thinking, like, I didn't even think about it. I put it on my notes and said, all right, at some point we'll mention it. But as I was reading today, other things came into my view, into my consciousness that kind of encapsulated the entire situation. One of them being this poll that was done. Seton Hall, I think, did a poll and they asked football fans, like 814 football fans, why they thought. Same question I asked the other day, as a matter of fact. Maybe they copying off me. Why they thought the ratings in the first 6 weeks of the season, they're 11% lower than they were in the first 6 weeks of last season, the NFL season. And the top answer, and again, I'm gonna make sure I make this very, very clear. I'm not gonna be like one of these people like there's a poll that said it was only 800 some people. I mean, it's like 814 people that they polled, and it was a poll that they say is reflective of society. Yeah, I think that's the way they put it. So take that for what it is. But for those people, the majority of them, 50-something%, I'm here looking for, I'm looking for the actual numbers to give you guys here, and I don't think I have them here. Yeah, I may not have them. Sorry, I thought I saved them, but I may not. I may not have. So anyway, a lot of people feel like it's the national anthem protest, but here's the thing: like after the first week, guess what? No one's caring. No one's even televising that. And here's the other thing: if you're a football fan, and if that is keeping you from watching football, you're an idiot. Because most of us ain't paying attention anyway. Like the only reason that I did pay attention, sorry, I did save it. Here it is. Yeah, Seton Hall, a poll. The only reason I did start paying attention, because I wanted to see. I wanted to see who was doing it and who wasn't after a while. And then it boils down to like a dozen. Somewhere around a dozen players are doing fist up or kneeling, and one of them just retired. Hell, Aaron Foster just bounced, so the numbers just went down. So it got me to thinking, with this still being a topic of discussion, has it kind of just reached its crescendo? And now is it definitely time to be looking at the next evolution? You know what I mean? Like, what's next? Like, what, other than Colin Kaepernick throwing not a little bit of money, throwing his money into it, and people throwing money at organizations and not really knowing. I'm not saying he doesn't know, but I know like Trent Baalke or whoever the dude is from the 49ers, he don't know what's happening with that money that he gave to that organization. He's just like, all right, I think it's a great organization. Here's $1 million, run it. Nah. I mean, like some boots on the ground type stuff. And during my reading today, I found some of that stuff. Let me go back a little bit and give you guys the actual poll numbers. Seton Hall poll released yesterday. Says 56% of those surveyed said they think fans are watching less because of the stand some athletes are taking by not standing during the national anthem. The action occurs pregame. Like I mentioned, it isn't even televised anymore. Other factors that fans cited, reasons people are watching fewer minutes of football with a presidential election. Of course, like 50% felt that way. The oversaturation of the games, 44% felt that way. Last night's game, if you want to call it that, was a perfect example of oversaturation. And focusing on postseason baseball because, of course, the Cubs and the Indians are a story, that people are watching very, very closely. And I want to talk about that, hopefully, before I get out of here tonight, the weirdness of that whole situation. And, of course, the old head injuries and the decline of the play, how bad the play has been. So, yeah, and there was 841 adults who they surveyed. So not like 10 grand or nothing like that, but less than 900 people, not even 1,000 people that they surveyed for this thing. And again, they surveyed football fans. The survey I want to see is the survey of people who don't watch football, or maybe who did watch football and don't watch it anymore. Why aren't you guys? But this is an opinion poll. As a football fan, why do you think people aren't watching the game? These aren't people who went around and asked people why they're not watching. They're asking people why they think other people aren't watching. So it's something like anything else to be taken with a certain level of perspective. You know what I mean? And not just let these people get on radio and say, there's a poll that says, people ain't watching the game because of Colin Kaepernick. Because that's the way they'll give it to you. No, that's not what the poll says. So anyway, thinking about the 7th Streeter thing. And by the way, the Philadelphia 76ers decided they were going to apologize. Like, I'm not big on apologies in the first place, but I'm definitely not the dude. Like, you don't get to do that with me. You don't get the dude to consciously do something wrong to me and then come back and think you saying you sorry is going to be how it ends. It's like somebody stealing from you. Somebody steal your car, and then they bring it back and be like, well, at least I brought it back. MF, the damage already been done. You stole from me. I don't care if you brought it back. That's not the point. So this whole thing with the 76ers, here's their apology, first of all. We're sorry this happened. After receiving feedback from our players, basketball operations staff, and ownership group, we believe that the wrong decision was made, and Seven should have been welcome to sing. We apologize to her, and in an effort to move the conversation forward, we have reached out to offer her an opportunity to return to perform at a game of her choice. We are waiting to hear back. End quote. I don't know what that means. Perform, like do her songs, or she get to do the anthem. Or now she needs to show up with like a whole Black Lives Matter like suit on, like in a choir too, a choir behind her, all of them wearing like Black Lives Matter everything, like black gloves on. Like all that needs to happen now, because that's the type of petty I have in me. Like if we gonna do it, and you gonna get mad because I got a jersey. Her jersey, by the way, for those of you who didn't see it, said "We Matter," and for her, like she's a lot of we's. You know what I mean? She's a human being first. She's a black human being. She's also a female human being. She's a couple of different we's. So now with the ambiguity of her shirt, you got to explain which we you mad about. The black part of her, the woman part of her, or just the human being part of her? Or is it just like she can't be included in the we? She's black. There's no way she's a human. You know what I mean? Like now you got to do that. That's where this whole thing that we have now in society, where it's like, I'll do something effed up, but then I'll apologize. Keep it. Save it, cuz. You know what I mean? Save it. I'm good, dude. I'm good. Like Renee's in the chat room. You guys can jump on in there too. Click on that little thought bubble that you see on the player if you're listening via Spreaker or the app. Renee says she should tell him to kiss her ass and move on. See, me and Renee got different levels of pettiness. Like she got her petty meter on 10. Like she want to just throw up the double birds and like keep it moving. Like I'm the dude that's like, yeah, let's show out all the way. Like, and then the choir that I get to, they're gonna be the blackest people you ever see. I'm going to get like a choir from like Uganda or something, like the blackest people you ever seen that can sing. That's who I'm showing up with. And I'm talking about a mass choir. Not like 7 people. A mass choir for the entire floor, the basketball court. And they all going to have on, like, in big... They might even have on Black Lives Matter t-shirt. They might just spell out Black Lives Matter with the people. You know what I mean? That's the type of petty I'm on. Like, nah, hell no. You don't get to run that. So anyway, moving forward here, as we move on from... my pettiness and the petty individual that I am. Something else came to my attention today. I was reading and I saw a couple of articles by the Undefeated. Now, if you're not up on this Undefeated thing, you got to get there, you know, because there's some very insightful things that will move you to think. And I think as a human being, that should be one of the things that we all, you know, strive for. And I kind of retitled the article so I knew, you know, what I wanted to say about it. And it's kind of like something that I've been saying for a while about this situation. Like after the kneeling is done and after the fists are done being raised and after the T-shirts are done being worn, okay, what's the next evolution? Like where's the part where we start talking about the actual point of change? And here's what I think, and here's what I believe in my heart of hearts. I believe no one wants to say that I don't know. I don't know that it can be, and I'm very unsure, because people, like, for the most part, like any people of oppression or that live in oppression, or any people who are like prisoners, the thing that they need is hope. You know, that's something that's a requisite. You feel me? And to relinquish that or to toss that aside, it means more than just, like, I could be that dude that say, come on, just be real about it. No, I'm not going to be that. I am. I feel like I'm being realistic, that the systems that have been orchestrated and the people who have created the systems have created systems in which they've benefited from them so long and in such a grand way. Those people have to be willing to change those systems. You know what I mean? And it's akin to saying you have to be willing to take a pay cut for your job to be able to run a commercial or something. You know what I mean? It's like the first thing you gonna say is that ain't my damn problem. I need my money. So it's kind of like akin to that. And you asking these old white men who tell women, you know, if you don't want to get raped, close your legs tighter. These people with those type of sentiments, you want them to change it? You want them to change the system? Because those are the people who have the ability to do it, not Colin Kaepernick. And I got some other stuff too about, you know, what people who do have influence in the world of sports can do, but aren't doing. This article, I don't know who, Charles Grantham, I think, wrote this article. He talks about something that I've talked about plenty on this show. He says any solution will require a financial commitment and a strong political lobby. That means it ain't marching. You know what I mean? It ain't putting all your money in the black bank or eating at just black restaurants. It's not that. You know what I mean? Because the people that you're trying to affect and the people that you're trying to get to change things, they don't care nothing about that. Like the market is a global one now. There is no such thing as a localized market right now. I told y'all before, I heard like about 10, 15 years ago, Bill Gates said there's two type of businesses. Those that are online and those that are going out of business. Because he knew that the way to stay in business was to be as far reaching as possible. So now, all right, you can stop buying whatever, pick a product. You can stop trying to buy it. But also the way the tier system and the way things are set up tier wise, you don't know who owns anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like you look at Coca-Cola and then just follow everything under Coca-Cola. You can just Google this, for example, and everything they own. And then ask yourself, how many of those things can I do without in my life? If I'm that about what I'm saying, if I'm really about it. Again, the system has adapted to those tactics, to those boycotting tactics. You know, things like apartheid. When I remember being a kid and people was like, don't buy Pepsi. And Pepsi was like, oh, junk, we got to do something about this damn apartheid. Now, ain't nobody, I don't care. Because those things would have an effect on the bottom line back then. Not now. Pepsi own too much other stuff, you know, that you don't even realize is Pepsi when you're not even drinking it. It's like stuff that you use and consume that Pepsi is a part of. He also talks about how change will require those who own professional teams to do something. Yeah. You know, I don't know if you ever heard Chris Rock talk about the people who were rich and the people who were wealthy. Shaq being rich, but the man who signs Shaq's paycheck being the wealthy one. Like, those are the people who change things in this country. Those are the people who put their money up in these lobbies and things of that nature to get laws and bylaws and things like that changed. Look at that damn documentary 13th. Like, don't just be like on this whole like, oh man, it's just something else about slavery. No. There's a lot of stuff about how policy is made in this country that I know for certain that I didn't know. I didn't know about no group called ALEC. Only ALEC I know is my white homie who I talk to all the time. You know what I mean? That's my man. But there's a group called ALEC, man, that all these Verizon and Walmart, Allstate, and all these companies that you might say you want to boycott, and I'm telling you they don't care. Because they're making rules. They're making laws. They're making minimum sentencing laws. I mean, they're making a difference in the sentencing between crack and cocaine, powder cocaine and rock cocaine. Targeting your black ass. You know what I mean? 3 strikes and you out, all that kind of stuff, man. Like when you sitting around, like if you sitting around there wondering where the hell is all this stuff coming from, that's where it comes from. Let's take a quick break here because I want to delve into some more of this article here. I'm gonna push on this day back to where it usually is on Monday and Wednesday at the top of the hour, because I want to continue this conversation. I really want to jump into it for the people who, like my man texted me the other day, like stay away from the politics, stick to sports. Aha! Look what I'm doing here. All this stuff is about sports, because now I'm about to start talking about the players' associations, the owners of sports teams, and the players' associations and their roles in this movement against social injustices and things of that nature. I know it's Friday. I know it's kind of heavy. My plan was to have a bunch of fun and goof around and do a bunch of silly stuff today, but You know how they say, when the spirit moves you. Nah, I'm playing. Ain't no damn spirit move me. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. It's a Friday, man. Tell your friends, tell everybody you know I'm here at Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, as well as on TuneIn and OneMicWithBigMike.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 o'clock. Like I say, when I get back, I'll continue this conversation as it relates to what is the next step. You know, Colin Kaepernick lit the fuse, but what's next? You know, what is to come in this thing, in this movement, this national anthem, or the thing that started as a movement involving the national anthem. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Oh, yeah, we in this bitch. Hey, I'll be up all night. Friday, right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Spreaker.com is where you're hearing me, or you might be hearing me on the Spreaker app, or you could possibly be hearing me on TuneIn. Or if you go over to www.onemicwithbigmike.com, I'm there as well. I love to hear from you. You can text me at 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside this live and interactive chat room. You got to be listening via Spreaker or the app, though. Just go ahead and click that little thought bubble icon you see. It'll get you right up in the chat room. You can also leave your comments below the streaming video I got going on Facebook. Facebook.com/1MICWITHBIGMIKE. Renee, do me a favor, Renee, if you're listening. Can you check the audio on the live stream? I noticed that on the promo I did earlier that the audio seemed a little bit loud, a little bit distorted or whatnot. So if you could check that for me and just let me know if it's coming through at a pleasant enough level, I'd appreciate that, and I can adjust it if need be. Before I went to break, I was talking about what happened the other day with 7th Streeter. You know, I've never seen that woman a day in my life. Like, I know her music. I listen to a lot of Pandora. But so many of these artists, I don't know what the hell they look like. I saw the video that she posted about what happened to her. And like so many of these Facebook videos, I don't even listen to them. I watch them. I see them going. That's why I like the ones with the subtitles. I thought it was just some chick posting a video like the rest of y'all do. I didn't realize it was somebody that is known until well after the fact, like the next day or whatnot. But anyway, I was talking about that and looked over, saw a couple of articles pertaining to something that I was talking about for a while now. The next evolution of this thing that Colin Kaepernick has kicked off, this awareness. Now that people are aware, and we know who cares and who don't care, all right, we can put one of those groups, push them to the side, deal with them, when necessary. But for the people who care, we gotta, thank you, Renee. We gotta figure out where and what's next. And once you figure out what's next, you kind of figure out, you got to ask yourself a realistic question, like, is it attainable? And one of the homies from the Undefeated, he poses a couple of different options, and it's regarding ownership, sports ownership of the NFL, the NBA, the WNBA, these massively populated leagues that are populated with African American players and players of color, specifically African American players, 70 to 80%, depending on which league you're talking about. And he talks about a financial commitment being needed by the ownerships of these leagues, these teams, and I 100% agree. He says in this article, as the NBA and the National Basketball Players Association negotiate an extension to the current collective bargaining agreement, why not? Why not take a small amount of the shared revenue, and he proposes 1/2 of 1%, 1/2 of a penny, to create a fund to use sports as a tool to address the inferior education of inner city schools and the deteriorating relationship between young black men and law enforcement in NBA cities. Now, a lot of you might be saying, "Oh man, see that's the whole thing. That's the old thing we always do. We push sports on young poor kids and young black kids as a way out of their circumstances when the odds are not in their favor." Okay, because when I first read it, I thought that too, but that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, why not have these sports leagues take over the financial responsibility, or at least part of the financial burden that's on these schools and these cities and these counties, the financial burdens to continue to offer sports programs that, for a lot of, they do a lot of good for kids. But in the same sense, what ends up happening, if like I know, what ends up happening, because of people's lustful nature for sports, other things like the arts and things like that, music courses get cut because they can't stretch the budget anymore. And if something got to give, it's going to be stuff like dance or expressive things like drama or music, band, and all those type of things. Because everybody can't play football and basketball, man. Everybody can't do that. So what about those kids? So what this guy is proposing, and let me make sure I get his name. I hate knowing that. Charles Grantham, what he's proposing is take some of the money that you guys are negotiating about in these cities that you tend to take a lot from. Let's keep it real. Like everybody, like here in Atlanta, for example, everybody's all amped about, yeah, we get a new stadium. Yeah. Because you think, and you've been told, and I've heard many of financial analysts talk about how it's never what they say it is. It ain't no windfall for the city. You good if you break even. People think, these jobs are coming and this, that, and okay. So once the initial bubble of jobs, of the construction jobs, once that's over, because they don't stay on, these dudes don't have like careers building the dome. The dome gets built, and then these people need new jobs. But that lie gets told. It's going to be good for the community. We're going to take this tax from this. It's not going to be a raising of your taxes, but the money got to come from somewhere. And this money that could be, I don't care what no one says. Like here they talk about it's the hotel tax. It's from out of town. So that money already was going to be allocated. It's not as easy as just allocating it towards education. And my question is always, why? I know you telling me that, but why? If it's money, ain't it? And if you ain't got, like, if you don't have a dome, a brand new dome to put it into, what was it going to go to? Feel me? But back to what I'm saying here. Try to stay on task here. He's proposing that these NBA teams and NFL teams, while they're doing all this negotiating, if they really want to do something for the communities that they're a part of, they really want to give back, that's a perfect way to do it. And I don't see no problem with that. When you start talking about 1/2 of 1%, dropping that into some after-school programs, some sports leagues that may be struggling to even stay afloat, kids got subpar equipment. And then, again, just relieving the school districts of that burden so that in the classrooms, monies can be allocated to better equipment, more technology-friendly things. as poorly as this country is doing in the lands of math and technology and science, when someone proposes something that says, you know what, these sports leagues, you can do something about that if you want to. He also talks about moving on from the whole your position on the issue of kneeling or sitting for the national anthem versus my position. Move on. All right, whatever. You love and you want to make love and have babies by this damn dumbass song. Cool. Now, what about black people getting murdered by police? What about the stress-filled relationship between young black boys and the police that are supposed to be protecting them in their community? What about that? Can we have that conversation? And while we having it, let's converse about what you can do to be a part of the solution. This is why my personal opinion is that there is no hope. Because once you're put in a position to essentially beg the people who benefit from the system to change the system, how is that going to happen? You know what I mean? I don't see the light at the end of that tunnel as a light. To me, it's a train coming back at your ass. Oh, come on, please, Mr. Billionaire White Man, whose family has owned people like me before. Change the system. Take some of your money and help people who look like me feel like equals in this country that we were brought to so many hundreds of years ago. Shit. Who? Like, as a black dude, I'm looking at that like, I wouldn't even do that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to keep mine because that's what the world has become. You get yours and I'll get mine. I don't care if I had a couple 100-year head start on you. I don't care. Whatever. Figure it out. Because the first thing they'll holler, Jay-Z figured it out. Yeah, if you had the opportunity, you'd have locked Jay-Z's ass up when he was selling crack. He just luckily didn't. You know what I mean? And I talked about this last week. Like, the Jay-Z's and the LeBrons of the world, those are people who have extraordinary talents. And I just want some little black dude to be able to know that he can become a dentist and be as successful in life. You know what I mean? He don't have to be Adrian Peterson. He don't have to be Jay-Z. He can just be like a regular dude that has a dental practice, but still had a big car and a nice house and a fine woman and the beautiful kids and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I want a little kid that looks like me to understand that is can be a part of his or her reality. But right now, I don't see that being necessarily an option. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show here. I'm on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Make sure you guys are signing up for your free Spreaker accounts. And once you do that, you can follow me on Spreaker. Follow One Mic with Big Mike on Spreaker. And then you'll get an alert. Every time I go live, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you'll get an alert. And you can jump on in this live interactive chat room. You can holler at me. You can send your text, answer my question of the day. The question of the day is regarding the National Basketball Association. Everybody's played a game so far. We got like 2 at this point for a lot of teams. And my question is that, what have you gleaned from the initial games of the NBA season? If you saw some things that you thought you might see, some things that you didn't think you might see, like last night, Dwayne Wade hit a couple 3-pointers. He don't do that. Gave him a little throat slash. That's the most stupid thing ever. Renee's asking me who wrote the article. I thought that's, you know what, that might not be, because the way these. Okay, thank you, Renee says she's got it. Okay, whew. And then along that same vein, there's another article that caught my attention, and same thing, the Players Union, NFL Players Union. I do not know what they were on a panel, the AFL/CIO's panel on the role of athletes and the labor movement when it comes to racial and social justice. Ben Watson was on there. I disagree with like 70% of the things that Ben Watson said. Not necessarily disagree, but I think he's pushing this like whole like I'm this religious man and the world needs more religion agenda. And like, dude, sometimes just talk. You know what I mean? Just like be a real guy and talk about and stop telling black people, fooling black people into thinking that Jesus is going to save them. Because it ain't happened. You know what I mean? It ain't happened. And it ain't going to happen. So if I need like real tangible information. Not that some dude that died a couple thousand years ago is going to come back alive. And then at that point, everything will be all good. Because I'm ready for it now. And plenty of black people been ready for it way, way, way before me. So me and the whole Ben Watson thing, I'm kind of real cool on that. Anyway, he's somebody. He's like the vice president. The NFLPA vice president is who he is. So he was on this panel or whatnot. Now I highlighted some things within this thing. Here's one of the things that he said. That again, I don't know how this is a possible thing. Listen to this. He says, quote, "White America has to want to enter into the black experience. You can go through your life and not have to think about what the experience is like for someone who is black." End quote. Wait, why? How unreal? Like, what? You show me. Because maybe I'm wrong about this. You show me the white person that if you give him the option, then his words are not understand the black experience. You have to want to enter the black experience. Hell, I don't want to be in the black experience, and I'm black. I don't want to be in the black experience in America. It sucks. You know what I mean? It sucks feeling like like the other day, true story. I'm riding around yesterday. And you know, like if you got a Chevy, there's like the OnStar, the blue light on the OnStar, and it's on the rear view mirror. And I got the music up, so this sounds so stupid of me. The music is rattling the mirror, and I'm not really paying attention, but I catch the blue light out of the corner of my eye, like moving, and I'm thinking the damn police behind me. Straight up. Like, that is my black experience, man. Any blue light. If I'm listening to some music and there's a siren on the light, first thing I do is hit the brakes a little bit and look in the mirror. Like, straight up. And I'm not even BSing. No white person wants to be in that. So if that's what we're waiting on as black people in America, for white people, as he puts it, quote, for white America to want to enter the black experience, my G, don't hold your breath. That ain't happening at all. At all. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen somebody. And that dude has said a bunch of dumb things. But to start to fix this problem, white people have to want to enter the black experience. My gosh. And again, maybe I'm going too far off the deep end with the comment. But I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me. 404-902-8104. You can do it inside the chat room or leave your comments below my streaming video here on Facebook, facebook.com/1mic with Big Mike. So anyway, the article goes on. And if you're looking for this article, because I don't know if I posted this one either, it's called Players Union Confronts Questions of Social Injustice, or Social Justice, I'm sorry. He goes on to say, those who are black have to know about white culture. They have to understand how to navigate through the spheres. That's how this country is set up. That's not right and wrong. Wait, what? That's not right and wrong. What's wrong is when you actively don't want to engage, don't want to hear something that is not your experience. This is why. This is why I hear these things and I hear people talking, but what I don't hear them saying is that we're screwed. Because that's not a thing. Like when I hear people say history, I hear them say his story. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You hear about like Christopher Columbus and he's a damn hero and all. You know what I saw the other day? There's a show on Viceland, one of my favorite channels. And there's this show on there, and he's like this black dude, I think he's like a Middle Eastern cat, and this chick who's from Spain or from France or somewhere European. And they get into this old beat up RV, and they're just traveling around America. And then they go to Mount Rushmore, and she says something that's so profound. She says, of all the places I've been, this country treats its government like religion, like other countries treat religion, because she's looking at these huge faces of these founding fathers on the side of this mountain that, by the way, they stole from the Indians, like a bunch of other things. That these huge faces, and like the Lincoln Monument, and all these huge pictures of real men. Where in other countries, these pictures, these images are images of gods. Unless, of course, you're in a country like Iraq, where it's run by a dictator, and the dictator himself puts a statue, like Saddam Hussein puts up a statue of himself, or Kim Jong, whatever, the dude from North Korea, puts up his own statue. But here in America, there was an effort to do this with men, not men who were considered gods. And when she said it, I was like, you know what? And that's part of the problem. That's why things won't change. It's the same reason people don't touch the Bible, right? Because it's God's word. You don't want to mess with. You don't mess with that, even though it has been many a time throughout history. If you just read a little bit. Another story for another day. So yeah, that's why people get so this Second Amendment stuff, right? Can't change the law. When in actuality, look up the word amendment. It literally means to change. To amend means to change, which means, and there are provisions within the document that says I think it's every 10, 20 years or something, that these laws should be reviewed. Because whatever year that was, 18, whatever it was, those men were probably smart enough to understand that, you know what, 2,000 years from now, some of this stuff may not apply fully. You know what I mean? Nah, not here. Not in white America. Those men knew everything. They knew the future and everything. So things have to be what it is. That's why we got to make it great again. Kiss my ass, man. It's so ridiculous. Like, this whole country and the way things are able to just fester in stupidity. It's one of the things that it still amazes me. This is why I don't get caught up in, every morning I wake up and I can't wait for this damn election to be over, because that's all it is. Look what racist thing I found on the internet. Look what happened with Hillary. Look at what's going on. Like, come on, man. Like, who are you surprised? First of all, if you're surprised, you're ridiculous. And second of all, who are you telling? You're telling a bunch of other people that look like you, because those are pretty much who your Facebook friends are, right? Now, guess what? America's still racist. You went to bed last night, it was racist. You woke up this morning, still racist. How about that? It ain't changed. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just do your best. You know what I mean? Do your best before you die. You know what I mean? Try to, if you got kids, try to raise the best kids you got. Kids you can. You know what I mean? And teach them in the ways of the world, and try to, give them some good sense, and let them know what's happening out here. Carmen Barkley is the labor union's director of civil, human, and women's rights. And then Dave Zirin, he is the sports editor for The Nation. Now, Berkeley says race is not a black problem. It's an every people problem. Kind of not. You know what I mean? Because again, if you're benefiting from the system, how much of a problem do you really have? It kind of is a black and brown problem. Like, what's that dude's name? That white dude on Mitch McConnell? It ain't a problem for him. He good. John Boehner and all these folks, Donald Trump, it ain't a problem for them. You ain't just gonna make me say it's somebody else's problem when it ain't. It ain't. It's my problem. It's a Mexican cat's problem. It's a Puerto Rican's cat's problem. It's an Asian cat's problem. You know what I mean? If you not amongst the majority white in America, yeah, you got a problem, and that problem is racism. Now, I appreciate white people, because like I talked about earlier, my man Alec, we text back and forth the other day about some foolishness that was going on, and he had some questions about the mentality, like where people kind of develop the mentality of either being consciously or subconsciously separative, or being able to separate people because of race. And we had that kind of conversation the other day, but for the most part, America is what it is. Like, this ain't like some place that, I love it here. I love America. I just stay here, man. It's like anything else. I stay here. I pay rent here, or I pay my mortgage here. You know what I mean? I don't own nothing here. And until that is a different thing, whatever. He talks about like the hypocrisy when it comes to race relations and the things that people are willing to fight for and not fight for. And the example he gives is like LeBron James. LeBron James, he famously or infamously, depending on which side you stand on, he wore the hoodie when Trayvon got murdered, right? But then here, just this past week, on his Instagram, there was a picture of a Cleveland Indians hat with the Chief Wahoo caricature or cartoon on it. And someone was like, someone from the Daily News, the New York Daily News, a struggle of which he obviously doesn't care. And I've said this before on this show, I don't really care. I don't even think, like, I've heard Native Americans on both sides of this thing, man, that they don't really care, because in the Native American community, again, if you do some reading, it's some way, way worse things for them to worry about than some baseball team's mascot. Alcoholism, crime, being undereducated. They still live on these I'm about to call them plantations. Jesus, not plantations. Reservations. Where, a lot of times crime is made to be acceptable because of their way of life. They still want to, some of the elders still want to live off the land and work the land and things of that nature, but they can't spare people. So when these young kids are growing up and they're drinking and they're doing drugs because they want to, the allure of the outside life, they can't lock them up. They can't put them in jail or nothing like that, because if you put them in jail, it hurts the society as a whole. So it's like a lot of stuff that like the Native American community, from my understanding, has to deal with that are bigger than the Cleveland Indians and their stupid logo. You know what I mean? But so many times, just think about who you hear talking about this. So many times it's white people. I heard like Dan Patrick talking about this the other day, talking about, who does it right though? The Blackhawks, the Chicago Blackhawks, they do it right. Who the hell are you to make that call? You know what I mean? That's why it's so stupid, man. Like, and for LeBron James to wear that hat, I got a hat that my man Mac used to call my racist Braves hat. You guys have seen it on the show if you watch the live stream. A Native American activist wrote this. He said, "How can you say Black Lives Matter when the name on your jersey says Red Lives Matter?" In response to Deshaun Jackson putting up a fist before the game, and Deshaun Jackson plays for the Redskins. I can't say that I can confidently just say that that's the same thing, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the feeling is from a Native American homie that, sees the police. I don't know what that feeling is. Maybe if I spoke to a Native American person, and you guys have heard the show before, I'm open to all that kind of stuff. Anybody who I don't know their point of view, I love to hear it and maybe gain some level of understanding. But as it stands right now, there's a bunch of dissension. The same way there's like dissension amongst black people as it relates to like Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter and all this kind of craziness. There's dissension amongst the races as a whole, man, that in a lot of cases it actually spoke about that in this article. I wonder, here it is. This is why change to all racial injustice comes at such a glacial pace. Minorities still routinely fight for their own communities more than they actually fight against racial injustice. Yeah. And to my point, there's fighting within communities. There's fighting within, not necessarily fighting, but there's disagreement within the Native American community as to, whether like we don't care about that. We do. It's offensive. Same thing with black people. Black lives matter. Well, I think all lives matter. Like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, until that can get straightened out, like, where we at? Like, if we on like one accord, at least a majority on one accord, where we at? Like, where we going? I don't know, man. We're going to take a break. Come back, on this day. We got to get into the football stuff, man. We got to get into college football. Big weekend in college football. Big weekend in not a big weekend. A bunch of buys this week in pro football. So I'll run down the schedules. I got a couple storylines from each avenue. Also got basketball going on, baseball going on tonight. Bunch of stuff, man. We got an hour to get it in, so we're going to try to do it right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Time starts now. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat? Where can you find the answers to these questions?
Car crashes are one of the leading killers of U.S. children. Many of those deaths could be prevented by making sure that kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Welcome back, and welcome into the weekend here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm being heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker.com. Sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. Also, I'm on the Spreaker app for all your mobile devices. Also, if you got that TuneIn app popping, I'm on there as well. And on my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. The show, if you missed any of the first hour of the show, you can hear it on demand on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and you can catch the video and audio on YouTube, my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that and share it with your folks. Also, subscribe to my iTunes and subscribe to my Google Play Music for my Android users as well. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. You can text the show at 404-902-8104 or jump inside the live interactive chat room, or you can leave a comment right below the streaming video like the homie Demetrius Perry has. And see, you can post ignorance too if you like to, and I'd read it. Mike, you just don't like Watson's word because he waxed the Falcons last year. Yeah, I don't care about him or the Falcons. in no regard. I don't care what he did to the Falcons. I think he's a religious nut job, that tries his best to interject that POV into every single conversation possible. And Jesus ain't gonna save black folks, man. Cause if he was, some of you religious nuts need to be questioning what the hell is taking them so damn long. You know what I mean? You run around here crying and praying and mad every time somebody look like you get shot by the police. And that ain't just started. Speaking of not just started, Renee says that in the chat room, she said there was ascension during the civil rights movement. That is not the problem. Nah, but it's not like this. It's not like there weren't people, not that I know of, there weren't people denying that there was a problem. I mean, you got people like Lil Wayne, and it's not just him. And the problem, he's not even just a singular, especially in this world we live in now, where everything is like communal. When this young black dude from New Orleans, It says, what racism? What? What racism? Yeah, there's a problem. You know what I mean? And it's the old adage of dividing and conquering. You know, so many of the people who look like us have reached certain economic levels, and I think that was one of the golden things about the civil rights movement. Because although there were stars, like Jim Brown was a star, but Jim Brown wasn't that far gone of a star where he still wasn't one of the people. Listen, remember, God, I was about to say Joe Louis. What's my man name from Philly? Joe Frazier. Muhammad Ali, when he stopped fighting, Muhammad Ali went from being, like, Floyd Mayweather's going to die rich. He's not going to go broke. For all the people who's wishing that Floyd's not going to go broke. Floyd's going to die rich. He's got that much money. Muhammad Ali had enough money to go broke when he stopped fighting. When they wouldn't let him fight no more, y'all saw the movie when he's in the car, you know, and Joe Frazier's offering him a loan. The people who black people back then looked up to weren't that far removed. Jay-Z's not going broke. You know what I mean? It ain't happening. And I'm not saying that you have to be in a position to go broke, but what I'm saying is these people weren't touchable. They weren't reachable for the common person. They weren't that far removed from being a common person themselves. So the issues of the day, they meant a lot more to Jim Brown, and it meant a lot more to Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, than they do now, I can assume, to Lil Wayne, Floyd Money Mayweather, and people like that. The people who we get mad about, they say, man, how don't they get it? Well, you know, dividing and conquering. You know, you put a couple of, you know, you let a couple of the crabs out the bucket, and then they look back at the other crabs like, why you ain't here with me? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, Renee, but with times changing, there's something I keep on saying, like, the game continues to morph and continues to evolve and continues to change. And as it changes, the things that were true at one point in history for black people, we can't continue to maintain them as true now. Let's do On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back.
On this day.
Oh, I guess I ought to pull it up first. I like when ignorance and like interjects itself into the show, because like I feel like the first hour of the show was like way heavier than I thought it was gonna be at like 1 o'clock this afternoon. I was like, yeah, it's Friday, we're gonna just F around and do some stupid ill stuff, and here I am. So shout out to the homie Demetrius Perry, man, and saying, you know, laughing at me in the chat room. On this day, that's what this music means. On this day in 1922, the first U.S. coast-to-coast radio broadcast of a football game occurred. Also on this day in 1973, Elmore Smith of the Los Angeles Lakers blocked 17 shots in a game. That's an NBA record that still stands to this day. And you know what I did? I went the extra mile on this day. I looked it up to make sure. I think Shaq is next with 15. And luckily for Elmore, they started keeping that stat in 1973, so big up to him. On this day in 1978, Donald Ritchie, he runs the fastest 100 kilometers ever, doing it in 7.2722 seconds. I'm not sure what the difference is between 100 kilometers and 100 meters. Is it shorter? It has to be shorter, right? He ran in 7 seconds. Now, on this day in 1994, the NFL Management Council and the NFL Players Association announced an agreement for the formulation and implementation of the most, at the time, comprehensive drug and alcohol policy. And it still is stupid as it is. 1994 is when this happened. Now, dude is still missing whole seasons for weed. By the way, shout out to Alden Smith. Alden Smith is the king of getting around the system. Every time, go to rehab. He just applied for reinstatement. Anyway, we'll see how that works. More to come. Stay tuned. On this day in 1995, stand up, ATL, the Braves defeated the Cleveland Indians, who are back in the World Series right now. But the Braves got that ass on this day in 1995 to win their first championship for the city of Atlanta. Shout out to the Braves, man. I remember when the Braves was losing like I don't remember when they was losing like 100 games. Like, how many did they lose this year? Like, when I was a kid, the Braves were horrible, man. Man, when they started winning, I ain't even care if they ever won a World Series. I was like, man, the Braves are good. Whatever, I don't care. And finally, on this day in 1997, the NBA announced that they had hired the first women to officiate a major league all-male sport. And there's a bunch of ladies reffing now, man. I saw last night during was that the Bulls game or was that the Hawks game I was watching? There was a lady, no, the Bulls game, reffing that game. The women, their names were Dee Cantner and Violet Palmer. Violet Palmer, by the way, I know exactly who she is. She's a black lady, openly gay woman as well, and black woman. All those, she checks off like all the boxes. But also, she just retired. She just retired from her reffing duties in the NBA, and also she was on Family Feud. I saw her on Family Feud. That's the first place I saw her, as a matter of fact, on Family Feud with Steve Harvey. And I was like, oh, okay, she's an NBA ref. Good stuff. Just recently found out about her lesbianism. Is that a word? Lesbianism? Anyway, Friday. That is your on this day. Your end of the week on this day. Where do I want to go from there? Did y'all hear about Vine? Vine is no more. The app where you could just take the situation, the video for 5 seconds. It's going to be no more, I guess. I don't know if it's being I didn't read the article. I just saw it, and I heard someone else talk about it earlier. I don't really care. I've never Vined anything a day in my life. So it's come, and it's gone. That's what she said. With, without any fanfare for me. I don't know what it is. You guys sad about Vine being on? People still like Vining? Okay, so Renee says it's becoming useless. I saw a dude. There are these people called influencers. This was on 60 Minutes this weekend. This dude, he's a multimillionaire from Vine. He does Vine videos, and they're called influencers because companies pay them to influence their followers to use their products. And it got so big that, of course, the government had to step in. That's why now when you see people post things on Twitter and it's like a promotion for a product, they have to put hashtag AD, hashtag because it's an advertisement. And the government, of course, wants to monitor everything you damn do. But no, this dude is black dude, a young black kid. He's like a multi-millionaire for doing, 5-second videos, 6-second videos on Vine. Yeah, I know he got to be pissed. Like Renee's like, it's useless. That dude's probably like, hell no, it ain't. Hell no, I ain't got no college degree. I barely got a high school one, and I'm a millionaire. America. Boom. Oh, he'll just move to. Oh, okay. So that's what Snapchat. I don't even know what Snapchat. Like, I'm only 39 years old. When I hear myself through these headphones, I'm like, who the hell is this damn 75-year-old dude? Snapchat or Instagram stories. Are they still 5 seconds? Because I think that's like his niche. Is that the fact that he can do it, and like he did like a parody, like a Batman versus Superman parody in like 5 seconds, So is that like, is it still 5 seconds, the videos, or is it longer? Because if it's longer, I think he kind of loses this particular guy I'm talking about loses his kind of, I don't know, the niche that he's kind of carved out with the Vine situation. Anyway, as you guys can hear, I don't know. Yeah, see, I think that Renee's saying they could be as long or short as they want to. I think that kind of takes it away then. Anyway, I don't know. I saw the story, and I thought maybe some of you guys who mess with all that, it's whatever. Okay, so see how I'm going back and forth between the situation? Demetrius is still in Demetrius is giving hella feedback on the show. I like the interaction on Facebook too, man. As far as what I was saying earlier, he says he's an Indians fan. And he thinks the name and the logo have to go. I've always thought that from when I was a kid. Like people call these people Indians because some dumbass white dude ain't know where he was. He's like, I must be in India. Look, they're the Indians. No, they're American. They're more American than me, you, any of these MFers. But we still the Indians. No, this ain't India. Just like being an African American. What the hell does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, talk to somebody from Africa. They'd be like, nah, cuz, I'm African. You're American. Yeah, dude. And you know how things started at Jesse Jackson. I remember hearing Whoopi Goldberg talking about, a long time ago, talking about how stupid that was. And then playing a clip of Jesse Jackson saying, We're not Afro-Americans. An Afro is a hairstyle. We are African-Americans. And I'm like, not me, dog. I'm from Decatur, B. You know, I'm not. You know, that was stolen from a whole group, a whole ethnic group. That part of your life has been stolen, and like you can't just go take it back. Because like I said, go talk to a real African, an official African, and watch him tell you, you're American, cuz I'm African. Yeah, ain't no bastardization of it. Ain't no like group thing we doing here. Yeah, it's real. That's where we're at in this country, man. We don't live here. I mean, we ain't from here. We just stay here. You know what I mean? What did I say I was going to talk? Oh, back to the NFL. Got some NFL stuff I wanted to holler at you guys about. The other thing that came from the articles I was reading. Dang, this thing's gonna take up the whole show, ain't it? I didn't even mean for it to. The talk of like with Ben Watson talking about white people have to be a part of the black experience, but there are other instances of black athletes saying, you know, with all the fists that you're seeing raised, with the knees being taken, other than the WNBA, shout out to the ladies, ain't none of these big time white superstars, you know, saying anything, you know, about any of this stuff. You know, you see, you got Facebook, you got the news and TV and all that kind of stuff. You see the faces of men who look like the men who you depend on. Like if you're Tom Brady, you depend on a lot of Negroes to make your living. Aaron Rodgers too. But you can't find your way. Who said something? Chris Long said something. Chris Long is long forgotten. You know what I mean? He's not one of the primetime white boys. Let's keep it real. He said something. Somebody else did too. I hate that I'm not remembering who else it was, but it was another white athlete that said something. But again, there's the reason that I'm not remembering who it is because the names are not Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. And like, look, don't feel obligated. But what I'm saying is, there has been a call to action for guys like that. And they just keep letting it ring. They keep sending that broad straight to voicemail. And, you know, just kind of tie everything together before I move on. I saw this month's Real Sports yesterday. And shout out to my man, David Scott. Shout out to all them folks over at Real Sports, man. They do, like, great work, man. Like for whatever ESPN is, they are the total opposite. They definitely target your intellect in so many different ways and make you think, and they inform you about things that, and otherwise, speaking for myself, I may not have even known. Like the story of Peter Norman. That's why we're speaking about white guys speaking up speaking up in the face of oppression for black guys. This guy Peter Norman. Peter Norman, he's the third man in that photo with Tommy Smith and John Carlos. He's the white guy from Australia. And if you don't know about Australia at one point, it may still be, was like hella, at that time, it was hella racist. Because they got a bunch, like, you know, Patty Mills, that dude is from Australia. Those Aborigines, they're black people. And in Australia, it was like a big push to like, this is about to be the whitest thing on. They talk about it in the Real Sports. I do advise you look at it. But the stuff that this dude had to endure, Peter Norman, and the way he was shunned and the things that came down on him because he wore one of those pins. Like those men, we as black people, you know what we do? We focus on the black fist being raised. But they also stood up there with no shoes on for people around the world who couldn't afford shoes on their feet. Poor people. They also wore necklaces with beads on them to symbolize the many black people who look like them who were lynched in the country of America. They also had a pin on, this pin for a group that they started, the Olympic Project for Human Rights, not black, human rights. And they asked Peter Norman to wear one once he won. Apparently no one knew who this white boy was, but then realized he could run his ass off. You know what I mean? He started blowing people away in these preliminaries, and folks was like, who the hell is he? So then when they won, they was about to walk out from the tunnel to get on the podium. They was like, look, man, how you feel about human rights, cuz? Kind of like punking him. He was like, yeah, I'm good with it. What's happening? He was like, you want to wear one of these pins? And he was like, sure. And from the way my man is telling the story, he reached for homie's pin. He slapped his hand away like, nah, this mine. I'm going to give you your own. And then that's when you see him on the podium with all three wearing these pins that say Olympic Project for Human Rights on them. Because before the Olympics started, there was this big thing about these N-words, but not come over here with all that foolishness. It's going to be a problem. John Carlos was banished from the village and all that. So history tells white boys, speak up if you want to. You know what I mean? They do that. Step outside of what you know if you want to. It ain't going to turn out good for you. And if you Aaron Rodgers, it's just like what I said earlier. Why? Why should Aaron Rodgers? And I'm just using these guys as examples because they're at the tip of my tongue. Why should Tom Brady, him and his model wife and his beautiful kids and all that, and Aaron Rodgers got Olivia Munn, like, why? What's going to change in his life for the better? Nothing. So what's the incentive? And that's life, man. In most cases, people don't do things out of the kindness of their heart. People need to be incentivized to do things. And so if you start asking white folks, to be, to step outside, that plush, feel good white world that America has made for a lot of them, and speak out, take knees and stuff during anthems. Yeah, you can keep waiting. I'm gonna be all right. Last couple things for the NFL. Goodell, that dude, that's one of the most stubborn dudes ever, man. Like all this head injury stuff. Because he wouldn't say I was wrong. We were wrong. Not even him. Because it happened before he came on board. It'd been easy for him to say, yeah, them dudes, they effed up. I'm going to fix it, though. I'm going to be cool. Now he's doing the same thing again with this damn domestic violence thing. I talked about Wednesday how Josh Brown, the kicker for the Giants, he got suspended, right? Taken off the commissioner's exempt list or whatever. But this dude, we all know how stupid this make-believe policy was that allowed this dude to serve a 1-game suspension for beating up his old lady over 20 times. And maybe I'm overstating it by saying beating up, but I'm not the dude that's going to put like a temperature on beating your woman. You know what I mean? Hey, he slapped her. He ain't punch her. I mean, he just pushed her. He didn't kick her. Nah. I'm just going to put it in one big basket and let you people who like to talk about gray area and all that kind of stuff figure that out when it comes to this. You know what I mean? Like it's like rape. I mean, he can put it all the way in. Yeah. What? Yeah. Makes no sense. It is what it is, right? All right. So here's what Goodell had to say about my man's 1-game suspension. Instead of just saying, yeah, we shouldn't have, man. We went through this already and we should have known better. Nah, here's what he said. He doubled down. What you see here is a policy that's evolved. We've learned a lot, but these are complex matters. When you talk to domestic violence experts, these are difficult matters to deal with. You have rights, you have families that you have to be concerned with, privacy issues. Yes, you want to make sure you're doing everything possible to address these alleged incidents when they happen, but you also want to deal with them to prevent them from happening. Well, that you punish people to prevent things from happening. It's called a deterrent. Am I wrong with that? It's a deterrent, right? You punish people. You tell people if you kill somebody, we're gonna put a damn needle in your arm. Don't kill nobody. Don't murder. No, not kill. That's wrong. There's a difference between killing and murdering. Like I kill an MF, you run up in my house, you gonna catch one. I ain't gonna go murdering folks though. It's a difference. I think we made tremendous progress. Getting back to the quote here, can we make more? And we'll make more? Of course. He's an idiot. He ain't made no damn progress. If anything, you've made the opposite of progress. You've gone backwards. Because initially, Ray Rice was suspended for 2 games. So you went backwards and gave this white boy 1. Yeah, come on, kid. I mean, I was born that night, but it wasn't last. Like, all that lawyer, it ain't even really lawyer talk. It's just like, I know I'm smarter than you. Hear my voice, hear me speak, and understand that I'm saying to you all that you need to hear. I'm good, cuz. I'm good. Let's get into the schedule for tomorrow, the NFL schedule for this weekend real quick. I'm not going to talk about that thing that happened last night on Thursday Night Football. No need. Redskins, Bengals, 9:30. They in London, ain't they? Yeah, Redskins and Bengals in London again. Not them again, but... you got the Cardinals and the Panthers at 1, the Lions and the Texans at 1, the Seattle Seahawks and the Saints, they're at 1. The Chiefs and the Colts at 1. The Jets and the Browns at 1. Have fun in that one. The Patriots and the Bills at 1. The Raiders and the Buccaneers at 1. The Chargers and the Broncos at 4-5. Oh, they bumped that. Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they? I think they bumped this game. The Green Bay Packers and the Falcons. The Falcons play a home game at 4:25. That should be pretty ill. I'm going to talk about that game here in just a second. And then Sunday Night Football, you get the two rookies, Winston and Prescott, going at it on Sunday Night Football. Then Monday, you get the Vikings. They get to come back off their first loss of the year and take it out against Jay Cutler and the Bears. Jay Cutler's back, baby. Yeah. Well, grand opening, grand closing damn near, because they done talked about this dude. All his guaranteed money has been paid. He got all the guarantees out of the team. How about that? So that means Jay Cutler's going to be somebody's backup next year. Jay Cutler ain't going to be no starter in the NFL no more. Any idiot that does that is just that. You don't deserve to be running no damn team. Falcons and the Saints. You know what? The Falcons and the Packers, I mean. Here's something that I forgot to mention on Wednesday. When I was talking about the Falcons and this whole thing about them building a championship team the way the Seahawks have and all that. Here's the thing I forgot to mention. You know what's going to kind of put a halt to that? The fact that Matt Ryan's going to be learning a different offense again next year. Why do I say that? Because guess who's a hot head coaching commodity? Like between Kyle Shanahan and Josh McDaniels, let's see. Chuck Pagano is probably going to be a job opening to Coach Andrew Luck. Gus Bradley, you saw that thing last night. I think his contract is up anyway, too. I think he's lame duck coach this year. Gus Bradley in Jacksonville with all that young talent. Blake Bortles ain't that bad. He's not as bad as he's been. Feel me? Sean Payton got a couple years, year 2 left out of Drew Brees. If Sean Payton get the old axe. Jeff Fisher, maybe. Like, you go out there, you get to coach a young Jared Goff, and here's the thing: if you're a brand new head coach, if it don't work out, he wasn't your guy anyway. You just take your ass back into the damn draft and get your guy. That buys you another extra 2 years at the front end of your deal with the Rams. So yeah, Kyle Shanahan's out of here like last year, man. So you got to deal with that next year. So while you sitting there talking about building a championship defense, a championship team, your quarterback starting over again next year. In my opinion, that's what's going to happen. He's going to have to start over with another offensive coordinator again last year. You remember what happened last year. It took some time. It took all the way to this year for Kyle Shanahan to kind of relax his hard stance on a lot of things that he believed in, and also give Matt some more freedom with the no-huddle and things of that nature. Got a couple minutes, so let me give you the breakdown on this game real quick before I go to break, if I can find it, and if I can't, I have to do it from memory. Here we go. All right. Atlanta, they rank number 27th in the NFL in points allowed per game. That defense is horrendous. Like, I don't care about yards and all that kind of stuff. The object of defense is to do what? Keep the other team out the end zone. The Falcons are 27th in that. There's only 32 teams for those of you who don't know. The Falcons are the best, though, in yards after the catch. So when they get the ball in their playmakers' hands, they know what to do with it. Of course, there's always that worry of that 15 slide happening again. So that's going to always be in the back of their mind. The Falcons have been outscored. Here's a big one. By 29 points in the fourth quarter. Which means, of course, they wear down and have trouble holding a lead. Atlanta has allowed 29 plays of 20 yards or more. But here's the good news with that. Those are what we call explosive plays. The Packers ain't explosive. They're 29th in creating plays of 20 yards or more. So, you got the battle of ineptitude. A team who wants to give up the long play and a team that can't manufacture long plays. The Falcons give up a combined 93 points gave up a combined 93 points in their 4th victory. The Packers offense averaged only 23 points. So, it's a lot of things that I guess you look at and you say something's got to give. The Falcons run the offense that the Jacksonville Jaguars run, that the Seattle Seahawks run. The Packers played the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first game of the season. So that's pretty much what they're probably going to be using as preparation for what's about to happen on Sunday. And in that game, Aaron Rodgers was 20 of 34 for only 199 yards. He didn't even break 200. He averaged less than 6 yards per passing attempt in 3 of his last 4 regular season games against that same scheme, either being Jacksonville or the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to come back and talk about this NBA, this National Basketball Association that's kicked off. I'm watching right now the Cavs. They beaten the Toronto Raptors 50-42 right now on my TV. So, yeah, we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the question of the day as well. The question of the day being, now that every team has played at least one game, what have you gotten? What have you gotten out of the NBA season so far? I've gotten some things, and I know a lot of you guys are like, it's too early to get anything. Not for me. I see, like, D'Angelo Russell, from our outward appearances, look like he ready to rock and roll. He couldn't wait for Byron Scott and Kobe Bryant to get their old ass out of here. You know what I mean? So I can start doing my ish. That's what he said last night after he hit that 4-point play. It's my ish, youngster. I feel you. It is the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm here on Spreaker for another about 30 minutes here. I'm also on the Spreaker app, on TuneIn, and OneMikeWithBigMike.com. You guys can be a part of the show by texting me at 404-902-8104, or you can jump inside the live interactive chat room, or leave your comments below the streaming video on Facebook. I'm at facebook.com/1MICWITHBIGMIKE.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mike with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mike with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemikewithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what living united feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mike with Big Mike.
And here we go!
Hey, it's my record right here, boy. Man, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's like when I'm always talking about, like, very few people are just one thing. This dude beat that girl up. This kid is like crazy talented, man. It's like a banging record. Don't know no words. I don't know no words to nothing. It is the One Mike with Big Mike show. I got a bunch of stuff to get out before I leave for the weekend, before I get into this weekend, man. Got to talk about the NBA, of course. Got to talk about what's going on this weekend in the NCAA. So I guess we know how to jump right on into that, right? I'm on Spreaker, the Spreaker app. Tune in, One Mike with Big Mike as well. All the shows are archived there. You can catch them on demand. You can also catch them on demand at iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube, where you can catch the video and the audio. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe to the iTunes, the Stitcher, and the Google Play Music as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE. Excuse me, got a little frog action there. So, yeah, my question of the day, UMFers act like it was stupid. You know what I mean? It's too early. There's still 81 more games to play. I know, I can count, damn it. But NBA season is here, and I forgot. Like, so many of you dudes don't like to mix your sports. It's like those weird people who like, my food can't touch. And my mom used to be like, it's gonna touch in your damn stomach. So a couple things that I saw for the start of the NBA season, if I can get it out. Joel Embiid. He looks good. You can still see him laboring a little bit. The foot, you can still see him laboring, but there's some skill there. There's some footwork there. There's some toughness. There's some understanding of the game. There are all those things that for a guy who ain't been playing basketball really that long, you know what I mean? In comparison, when you talk about dudes playing all this, pick up AAU ball and Little League and stuff like that, kid hadn't been playing ball that long, and he seems to really, really understand what he's doing so far. They lost a close one to OKC, so Russ and the new look Thunder, they got a chance to get their first win of the season. But here's the thing, though. Here's the crazy thing. And out of both of those teams, the Sixers look the best. I guess because of what you may have been expecting from them. But that team is still going – that Oklahoma City team is still going to rely on Russ probably way more than they should. You know what I mean? Victor Oladipo is there, of course, and Enes Kanter is there, and Steven Adams and all those cats. But, Russ he's so dynamic. It's like being the Julio Jones of basketball. It's like he's there and he's so dynamic. It's like how do you force yourself away from, in the basketball sense, just standing and watching at times. I mentioned D'Angelo Russell already. I felt that he was a kid who was going to need to be able to spread his wings. Jordan Clarkson was actually their leading scorer. He quietly is kind of like their best player too. Julius Randle had a nice night in that game against the new look or the new coached, the Mike D'Antoni coached Houston Rockets. James Harden, my God, like for whatever jokes that people like to tell about James Harden, they don't play no defense. They try to take the one little, like 2 or 3 clips a year and tell you that that's who James Harden is defensively. Watch some basketball. Secondly, who cares? Like, James Harden is a monster on the basketball court. And every time I see that dude play, I think one thing to myself. How crazy is that he, Russ, and KD were on the same team at one point? My gosh. Like, I don't remember my comment. I remember telling Rob Calloway this. When they lost that finals against the Heat, I said, that's cool. I said, because you know what's going to happen? Everybody else in the league going to get older, and these 3 dudes just going to be getting better. And it happened. They all got better, but they not together anymore. Like, James had to bounce because, the folks that run Oklahoma City felt like they wanted to make sure they got something for him. They didn't want to just lose them to free agency, which they were going to because, of course, small market, can't pay everybody. They had already paid Serge Ibaka. They was lining up to pay to extend KD and Russ, so James Harden was kind of like the odd man out. He was a 6th man at the time too, but he got like starters minutes in the 4th quarter, so there was that. But yeah, 17 assists, cuz 34 points. Hell yeah, that sounded like an early MVP candidate to me. A dude who didn't even get any sniff for NBA, All NBA last year. Who was that? Mark Jackson said it's criminal. Not a whole lot of D. Not a whole lot of defense between the. I'm a child, I know. Between the Rockets and the Lakers, but whatever. I think Luke Walton, he'll be able to coach that into him. He'll be able to coach that defense into him. Mike D'Antoni don't care. Never has, from his days in New York, from his days with the Lakers, from his days with Phoenix. He don't care about defense. So there's that. Saw Dwayne Wade last night. First game back home with the Bulls, first official game. He, Rondo, Jimmy Butler. Now, the question today about whether it being D Wade's team or Jimmy Butler's, because Dwayne Wade hit a timely 3 at the end of regulation, at the end of the game to put the Bulls up 6, was it like 105 to 99 or something like that in the closing seconds. But at the same time, Jimmy Butler, he had a big 3 at the end of the half. So whatever. This dude. NBA MVP after get no. See, this how rumors get started, my man. Ain't nobody predicting no MVPs. I am no those in the building, by the way. He's in the chat room. But James Harden is setting himself up for the type of season. If that's how he's gonna play in that Mike D'Antoni up and down, fast paced system, yeah. 34 and 17. I ain't saying he can do that. He gonna do that every night. But let's not act like we don't know what kind of player offensively James Harden is. 2 years ago, he was the MVP runner-up. So I'm not like reaching. I'm not talking about like Louis Scola or somebody is about to be the MVP. Nah, James Harden. Think about it. Everybody else is like losing buckets. Like Russ is gonna get a bunch of buckets. As you can see, Dame Lillard went 39 in game 1, 29 in the next game. He's gonna get plenty of buckets, and Harden is gonna get plenty of buckets. The dudes who ain't gonna get as many buckets anymore is Steph. You can probably think that the 35 from Kawhi in game 1 may have been an aberration just because of the system. KD ain't gonna get the same amount of buckets that he got in Oklahoma City. So if you're talking MVP, let's be realistic with the names that we talking about. Feel me? And I think James Harden, I think that's a realistic name. I don't think anybody is looking at me like James Harden MVP. Nah, that's as realistic as any name. You know what I mean? This ain't me. Who's somebody else? Like Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka, MVP this. Nah, hell no. Nah. You know what I mean? Where was I? Oh, the other thing. I saw the Clippers play last night. Speaking of that Blazer squad, the Clippers got a win last night. Oh yeah. I am no though. It's like your go-to, the brow. Anthony Davis is a monster, man. Good God, that dude. Like, if I want him to stay healthy, you feel me? It's like my same comment about Colin Kaepernick. Like, when I'm saying Colin Kaepernick, I just want him to be good at football. Anthony Davis already real good at football. I just want him to be healthy, man. I love watching that dude play basketball. Goodness, I do. Guys like him, Karl Anthony Towns, like the NBA. For those people who love to holler out, and relish in 90s basketball, the NBA is star packed now, man. Like all that old time back in my day stuff as it relates to the NBA, you gotta miss me with it. You gotta miss me with where's the big man? People love hollering that out. Where your big man at? All right. Speaking of Anthony Davis, we get to see that tonight. We get to see Golden State. Are they going to New Orleans, I think? I got the schedule here. I don't know why I'm asking the question. I got the schedule right here in front of me. Oh, yeah, they go to New Orleans at 9:30. I'll let that. You got the Rockets going to the Mavs at 8:30. 9 o'clock. Lakers and the Jazz. I don't know too much about the Jazz, that Jazz squad. The Heat and the Hornets. Hassan Whiteside, you get to check that out. Him and Justice Winslow and Goran Dragic and all those cats. Kemba and the homies. You know who I saw? I saw freaking Roy Hibbert yesterday. I was like, damn. No one's giving up on Roy. Roy playing for the damn Hornets, man. Good for Roy. You can't be like 7'6" and working at Foot Locker, cuz. You got to keep playing as long as you possibly can, because that look way too awkward when the doorbell ring and I go open it up and the pizza man is like 7'9". No, I can't tip you, dude. Get your ass on the basketball court somewhere, man. Leave. Anyway, sorry, I got this thing with Roy Hibbert. I'm gonna have my man. I'm gonna call my man Guy Torrey, man. He's a big Lakers guy, but he knows Roy Hibbert. He called himself defending him last time we talked. Y'all see this thing about LeBron? LeBron apparently telling Tristan Thompson the same thing I've been saying. Don't be bringing that broad around here, man. Like, he understand what the KKK is, man. Not the Klan, the Kardashian Coochie Kurtz. So apparently LeBron done told this dude, man, don't be having that chick around this game, because it's real. Like, I ain't even a dude who believe in all that Kurt stuff, but like, when the evidence presents itself, what I'm gonna do? Just ignore it. So apparently LeBron had told Homeboy, and then Homeboy told Tristan Thompson told LeBron, she my lucky charm. If we had lost the first game, I might have told her to stay away then. But since we won the first game, she gonna keep coming to the game. She gonna keep coming to the game. That's what I'm saying. The other thing that happened in that Bulls game, going back, that throat slash stuff. God, man, people are so ridiculous. Like, people treat like fictitious things as real things, and I don't know when we got to that point. I even looked it up. Like, why is that a thing? Because it's a simulation of you murdering someone, because that's what's going on. Like, Dwayne Wade is going to murder somebody. Or somebody's going to like, look at Dwayne Wade. He just did a throat slash. You know what that makes me want to do? Go kill somebody. Like, people, I swear, people think that sports fans are stupid. And I mean, for the most part, they're right. But who's that stupid? Like, at some point, give people an ounce of credit. That watching Dwayne Wade hit a big three and then doing the throat slash is not going to cause, a more murderous society. Goodness. Kevin Garnett, the recently retired Kevin Garnett, apparently he's going to join TNT, and he's going to be like a consultant for other teams, for a couple of NBA teams as well. So Kevin Garnett went from Minnesota to, I guess, turning into a Jamaican. He got like 1 million jobs now, all of a sudden. Good for KG, man. The man who uses the N-word more than I do. He's a great connoisseur of that word. Good for him too. The Hawks last night took care of the Wizards. That team, Bradley Beal and Sean and John Wall. Like, for all this like manufactured stuff that people trying to do between Kevin Durant and Russ Westbrook, like, I think it's kind of real with Beal and Wall, man, because they both verbally been like, nah, I don't think we get along sometimes. Or like, if I knew John Wall was gonna be here or whatever, I wouldn't have re-signed. I think Bradley Beal said something like that. Like, it's like real tension between them dudes, not like this fake made up stuff that people are trying to manufacture and say was there between KD and Russ. That's gonna be bad for their team because both of those dudes are good basketball players, and if they can't understand that there's only one basketball and it has to be shared, there's going to be a problem for Scotty Brooks. He's going to have the same problem. It's the same dude that was coaching those two dudes, now that I kind of, draw the parallel there. Dwight Howard here in the ATL, I mentioned it earlier, he looks healthy. Looks real healthy, got a lot of spring to him. Still, there's going to be some issues to the game, and everybody today was freaking out. Rebound, look how many rebounds he got. And then came, like, these people here in Atlanta, they never let me down, boy. That never surprised me. It was like, man, they took the high road on that one. Sweet. Nah, immediately. The Celtics lost yesterday. No one said a word after they won their first game. They beat the Nets, right? But they lost yesterday. Look at that. Al only had 6 rebounds, and Dwight had like 95. They two different players. Like, all these folks around here, they all booty hurt because Al was honest about the situation here. It was opening night last night. You see how many white shirts was left on them seats in Phillips Arena yesterday? Consistently, this team is below the bottom of the league in home attendance. Al said, "You know what? I came from the University of Florida where people was crap crazy over the team I played on because we won championships. I want to go somewhere where it don't feel like I'm playing in the gym by myself." That's what he says. Paraphrasing what he said, and he went to Boston, an upstart team, the same way the Hawks are or were a couple years ago. But again, people want to be butthurt because somebody goes and takes a better job, a job that's better for them, for their situation and their family. That's ridiculous, man. Al did a lot in this community. He did a lot for this team. Came back early off of 2 pec tears to try to play in the playoffs. Yeah, I think it's whack, that whole little situation. And meanwhile, the thing that ain't been brought up, your brand newly extended point guard, 2 assists yesterday. The one that you ran out of town, though, had 8 for the Pacers. Oh, we gonna wait. We gonna wait till that flip before we mention it. If you're a Hawks fan, right? I'm good. Don't be ridiculous. This is where I'll say it's a long season. Everything will play itself out. Al will find his fit with the Celtics. That's a good ball club. The Hawks are a good ball club. And then Dennis will find his way with Dwight. Like last night before the game, Dominique and Bob is showing showing highlights of the Hawks versus the Cavs reserve in preseason. Like, look at the execution of this 1-5 pick and roll. You ain't see 23 out there. You ain't see 2 out there. You ain't see what's my man name? Oh God, Channing Frye, Tristan. You ain't see none of those people on the court. It was all like James Jones and backups. See, that's who I am. You start showing me stuff and try to brag, I'm like, all right, who do they do it against? Nobody. And just like last night, 2 assists for Dennis Schroeder. That 1-5 pick and roll, one bunking like that last night, was it? No. No. We had a couple minutes left in the week, as a matter of fact, here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you hanging out all week, too. And if you're listening to this on demand, I appreciate you just as much. Speaking of on demand, you can catch the show on demand if you missed any of it. You can catch it on Spreaker, the Spreaker app, TuneIn, One Mic with BigMike.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and the YouTube for the on-demand video and, of course, the audio as well. All weekend long, I'll be on Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook, unfortunately, so you can follow me there at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Same handle, all three. And you can continuously use the text line if you want to. All weekend long, 404. I won't respond to your text. Like, I won't text you back. We're not going to do that. But I'll see your text, and then I'll read it on the show. I'm trying to pull it up right now. And I'll read the text on the show, the following show. Yeah, I'm not texting back and forth with strangers like a weirdo. So this weekend, we got college football. The first week, the last week, I guess I should say, before we get to the actual rankings, the BCS playoff championship rankings, the ones that actually count. And the game, I'm going to give you the games that you need to watch this week. You can watch what you want to, but I'm just going to tell you the ones that matter. That's going to be good. One that I don't have on here, though, that Michigan State-Michigan game, only because it's a rival game. Michigan State is bad this year, and Michigan is like hella good. So it may not be that typical Michigan State game that you've been used to over the last couple of years. But I'll keep an eye on it. Like, hit that little red C. If you got Comcast, just hit that on the remote. That way you can kind of see the score on the right. That's what I do sometimes. Like, if it's a game that maybe I could watch, but maybe not, I kind of keep an eye on it, the score on the right, while I'm watching something worth watching on the screen. And then if it turns out to be like a close game, second quarter rolls around, it's like, 3-0 or 7-10 or something like that. Yeah, flip on over, check that Michigan State-Michigan game out. I don't know where they play. I think they play at Ann Arbor. Not sure, but still, a damn rivalry game. West Virginia, Oklahoma State. That West Virginia team has snuck up to number 10 in the nation while nobody's looking. And nobody should be looking. They ain't played nobody. None of the 6 games they played so far are against a team ranked at the time they played them or even now. They've played nobody. So, when you hear people say, I think team ain't played nobody, they usually say nobody but. No, this team hasn't played anybody, and this week is no different. They play Oklahoma State, another unranked team. Excuse me. They got some late season games against Oklahoma and Baylor. I'm probably not going to get to that Baylor story today, but it ain't going to change. By Monday, it'll still be there. And I can talk to my man Ben Troop about it. Speaking of Ben Troop, the homie is going to get honored this weekend. The Georgia-Florida game. I don't advise you watch that. I'm going to send him a text and make sure and see if it's at halftime, because I'll turn over to see it at halftime to see my man get inducted into the Georgia-Florida game Hall of Fame. No doubt. Big stuff going on for the homie Ben Troop. We'll talk to him on Monday about it on Troop Talk at 7:30. But yeah, I got to make sure I mention that. I probably won't be watching the game because not both. That Georgia team is just trash, like trash. Oklahoma State in this West Virginia game has a shooter's chance, a puncher's chance, because their offense is just that. Mike Gundy and the boys can put together some offense, but it's still that whole Big 12 thing, and that's really the thing that's kind of keeping West Virginia where they are, because they happen to figure out a way to play some sort of defense against those nobody-ass teams they've been playing. They only given up like 17 points a game in the last 3 weeks. You got Washington and Utah. Here's the thing for Washington, and if you guys hadn't seen Washington this week, they're on early, 3:30 on Fox Sports 1 this weekend. Give that Washington squad a check. Chris Peterson. What's the quarterback's name? I always forget it, because I always think about the UCLA kid, Josh Rosen. What the hell is this kid's name? Anyway, the quarterback who I have in my Heisman running, if I can remember his name, I don't have a vote anyway, so it don't really matter. This is their chance to lose. Number 17, Utah. Number 4, Washington. This is their chance to lose before the championship, because everyone else, they've already beaten the hell out of everyone else, the Oregons, the Stanfords, the Oregon States of the world, beating the hell out of them 155-44 combined. This Utah game, Utah's a team that shows up and they want to beat you up. They want to punch you in the mouth. They got a bunch of those damn Samoan dudes, too. Like, if you got 1 or 2 Samoan dudes, like, you doing all right. They got a bunch of them. Like, before the game, they start doing, like, those chants. Speaking of, like, the Cleveland Indians and all that kind of stuff, I did not know until like last year when I was talking about the story regarding like mascots, Native American mascots. The Utes, a Ute is a UTE, Utah Utes. They are a tribe. They're a tribe, and they have an affiliation with the school, from my understanding. So they like do like this tribal stuff at the beginning of the game. It's like real like hard until they end up getting their ass whooped during the game, and it looks like it's all for naught, a bunch of carrying on for no reason. But yeah, they line up and they come to play, and they come to whoop ass out there in the Pac-12. So if you one of these SEC people, ACC people is like, Pac-12, they play too late. Well, 3:30 this week. Give it a spin. Nebraska and Wisconsin. Wisconsin, another team that wants to beat you up. Nebraska too. Mike Riley is their coach. I know this because of the Aflac questions of the day last week, which I didn't know the answer to. There was like 5 coaches in FBS football who coached in the NFL, and it was like not Lane Kiffin, 5 head coaches like Bobby Petrino, Nick Saban. Anyway, I don't have time to go through all of them, but the one I didn't know was Mike Riley. Oh, Lovie Smith was one. Anyway, yeah, Nebraska in the next 2 weeks they're gonna play some pretty decent squads. Wisconsin this week, and then Ohio State next week. So, but them being undefeated and trying to win that West up there in the Big Ten, this is gonna go a long way towards it. Now I think they got a tiebreaker of some sorts, but we've seen Wisconsin play Ohio State and Michigan real tight, lost by 7 points to each team. So this should be a pretty good game. Wisconsin, yeah, they got the tiebreaker over Nebraska already. Or they would have it if they beat Nebraska coming down to a Big Ten championship game. So Nebraska's going to need this game going forward. And for Wisconsin, it's definitely a must-win. You got Clemson and Florida State, 8 o'clock, ABC. This Clemson team's been so up and down all year long, right? Excuse me. Beat teams like Syracuse, Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, South Carolina. They got those teams on the schedule, I should say. We saw Clemson struggle to Troy. They only beat Troy by 6 points. They should have lost pretty much to NC State last week if that field goal was made at the end. So that's the thing. Auburn and Mississippi, finally, that Mississippi team is out of the top 25. They under 500 finally. They 3-4. But they lost to Florida State, Alabama, Arkansas, and LSU. So they kind of gave them some pity points for that. That Auburn team is coming on. After that game, that late win against LSU, Malzahn gave up the play calling duties, and that team, they got that big-ass, like, old-school running back, freaking neck roll from the 90s, running back, running the ball. The little white kid. He's a white kid. I think his name is White, too, isn't it? No, it's not Jeremy Johnson. He's far long gone playing quarterback from Gus Malzahn. So record-wise, don't look like that should be a good game, but Ole Miss is trying to come back. They got their ass handed to them last week by Auburn. Auburn beat the hell out of Arkansas last week, but I think didn't Mississippi get it pushed in last week too? Either way, they got to try to get back to 500 because now they're in jeopardy of not even making a damn bowl game after hanging around the top 25 all damn season. All right, that's gonna do it. That's going to do it for the Friday edition. You get some of this World Series in. You get some of this basketball in. You got college football tomorrow. I'm seeing like people like my man Deshaun Tate, Vashti Hurt from CarolinaBlitz.com. They doing their best, boy. LSU. Yeah, hell yeah. How did I not? Thank you, I am no nose. Freaking Leonard Fournette ran for 300 on these dudes last week. Of course. Duh. Yeah, they posting about college basketball and all this kind of stuff. Holler at me in February. Holler at me at conference championship time, man. I ain't got time for no college basketball right now. Ain't nothing to pay attention. Nothing to see here. Nothing at all. Anyway, man, I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to mention it at the end here. On Monday, some of you guys going to be out celebrating Halloween. You're going to be out with your babies, with your kids. Please, 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 I beg of you, keep an eye on them. And I don't mean just keep an eye on them. I mean keep a real eagle eye on the babies, man. Like around here, a couple years ago, a little girl got hit by a car. No foul play involved, man. Her mom just kind of turned around for a second. The guy who hit her was just, I think, coming home from work or leaving to go to work or something of that nature. He wasn't drinking. He wasn't on no drugs or nothing. Just a bad situation happened. The worst of worst situations. So, take your babies out, dress them up, go get them some candy and all that kind of stuff. But, those myths about the razor blades and the apples and all that kind of stuff, urban legends. The real fear, man, is just not paying attention and getting, your kids can get caught up in all the activity and they can't be paying attention sometimes. So it's up to you as the parent to be, be that guiding force and pay attention for them. So you guys, by the time you hear me on Monday, a lot of you guys are going to be already out trick-or-treating and all that. So I'm going to make sure I say what I got to say now. So y'all be safe. Get out there, do your thing, and I won't be out there. Don't knock on my damn door either. I'm going to take it as a sign of aggression. Anyway, man, appreciate you guys hanging out. Don't forget, I'm on demand on Spreaker, the Spreaker app. Tune in. One Mic with Big Mike, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube. Subscribe to all that stuff. And I'll catch you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend.